and welcome to our first ever Mostly Books book chat. Yeah. So I'm Jody, and this is my friend Jen.
Hello.
We decided we miss book clubs.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, this is silly. We're stuck in the bookstore. We might as well have a mini book club.
Yeah.
So we've decided to begin this tonight. We're hoping to continue and maybe talk some of the other staff into joining us. We'll see. Tonight we're doing The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh.
Good job.
Jen is going to tell us a little bit about what the book is.
Should we talk about what other books we're doing first?
No, let's leave that as a surprise.
Okay, it's a surprise. So this is like a YA novel, so it's YA fantasy, which we both like. And it's vampires. We're getting vampires again.
How did you feel about that?
I was a little skeptical. I read a lot of vampire novels like when I was in 8th grade and early high school, and then after all of them I was like, okay, I'm okay to not read a vampire book for a few years. So they are a little bit of a hard sell for me. And then I read this one and I actually really liked it, so I was glad I was talked into giving it a chance.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I did not have any of those issues. But I read vampires, yes, I read them in high school and middle school, but they were much different probably than the ones you read. And then I read them again as I got older. So I don't know, I've never really felt like I needed a break from them.
Yeah.
So I was excited about this and was surprised actually to hear when you'd mentioned the backlash about, oh my God, another vampire book. Because I was like, oh, why? Why is that bad? Okay, anyway, continue with your synopsis.
Okay, so it's set in New Orleans, which I was also excited about.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1872, and Celine has had to flee Paris. I'm not going to say why, because we're going to try and avoid spoilers as best we can.
We're not promising. We're going to really try.
Yeah. But she's had to flee Paris because of some horrible thing in her past, and she's taken in by the Ursuline convent along with several other girls. She gets to New Orleans and then starts to get involved in, like, the underworld, or I want to keep calling it downworld because I also read Mortal Instruments, but it's not downworld. In, like, the supernatural world of New Orleans, and that's how we meet Sebastian, our male lead.
Yep.
He's good. We like him. And we learn about some of the conflict around his family and his supernatural friends, and Celine has to figure that all out while figuring out what kind of person she wants to be.
What was your first impression of Celine?
I liked her.
I did too.
Yeah.
I think she was relatable in that I'm not really sure who I am, but I feel like I could go really dark.
Yeah.
In some ways, I feel everyone feels that at some point in their life. And I feel she was definitely drawn to the bad boy. What did you think
did you read his description? Because he's cute.
So that answered that question of how you felt about Sebastian. Okay. What about her friends at the convent? Do we like them?
Oh yeah, Pippa's cute. Like they're very sweet, but they also have this like tension because they all have something in their past that made them like leave their homes and come to this convent. And so there's that tension of like, do they confide in each other? Do they want to confide in each other? Mm-hmm. Are they even friends? So like those two discussed that at one point, and I just thought that I liked that, and like getting female friendships in books is always nice.
Yes, I agree with that too, especially when they're already strong females and building friendships based on that. I loved Adette. I thought she was fabulous.
I did too, yeah.
I sometimes was a little frustrated on how Celine treated her. I understand why she did it, but I don't know.
And there's like, do we want to talk about like what the vampires can do?
Well, first, before we talk about that, do you think you would have known they were vampires right off the bat? I mean, had you not already been told this is a vampire story? Because I personally really liked how Renee had this like dark being was kind of creeping around and stalking Celine, and so you knew it was something. Yeah. But I'm not sure I would have went straight to vampire had I not already seen that in the cover.
I might not have either, because there's a lot of like the typical I guess, like, marks that are missing. You don't see fangs. You don't see, like, oh, they don't go out in the day. You don't see, like, the super pale skin.
Oh! Everybody's fine.
Gravity.
Gravity.
It's always against us. So they don't have the super pale skin. They don't. There's a lot of markers, or like typical vampire markers that are missing. And
were they missing or just done differently? Because like I didn't miss that. I didn't think it was any less of a vampire.
I just meant missing as in they weren't there.
Oh, okay.
I didn't.
Okay.
It wasn't something I was like, what do you mean they don't have fangs?
Okay.
No, it was fine with no fangs.
Me too.
But you definitely, even like Celine kind of like picks up on this, like she uses the word inhuman, that there's something going on here. And like the whole descriptions of like when she shows up to the restaurant, she's like, there's something just off. They're good at like pretending to be normal, and then that feeling only intensifies. And I thought that was like really well done. Yeah, I liked that. And it was always just this otherness was always present. Yeah. And we never really, until towards the end, knew what that was. Okay, now we can go back and talk, if you'd like, about what the vampires can do. Oh, yeah. So they have abilities of some sort. And Odette's is prophecy. Like, she's a bit of an oracle, so she can see parts of the future. Which, that's always interesting in books, because it's a tension of, like, your characters knowing what's going to happen, but then you still have to, like, surprise the reader. So I always wonder how that works, and I think we're going to get more of that in the second book. FYI, the second book, The Damned, comes out in June. You can pre-order with us at Mostly Books at any time. We should have signed copies as well. Okay, sorry. Good plug. But yeah, that was like one thing I wanted more from this book, which is also being a little unfair. I wanted to know more about how these vampires like worked in their own supernatural community, and how that worked, and all like the power plays of that, because you kind of get like hints that there's something going on. It's definitely hinted to, but I think that'll come, like you said, in book 2. And in the first book, it's hard to build the world and divulge all that. Yeah, like build the world, build characters we care about, build their relationships. There's and you gotta have some surprises for the next one. Yeah. Like you can't give it all away in the first book. I know, but I still try to figure it all out in the first book. Well, that's fair. Bastien did surprise me. Yes, and how so? Do you want me to say? Is it spoiler? Well, I don't like the not really, not the ending. I'm not going to talk about the ending. Okay. Then yeah. I was expecting this, like, the love relationship to start out with one person human and one person vampire, or like one person supernatural. And so I was like waiting for that to happen, and it didn't. I thought that was interesting, because then they start off on an even playing field, and you don't have this power imbalance built into it, which, because then it's always like the super old supernatural dude, right? And then like which a teenage girl. I'm sorry, I kind of always am a little like, the only person you can relate to is a teenage girl. You've only lived how long now? Yeah. I actually really liked that as well, because not only did they start off equal, but it wasn't that creep factor. Yeah, but there's still like this like mystery around him and like the court, or the Cour de Lion. I did not know French. You did way better than I did. But there's still like a lot of mystery around them, and like Celine's figuring that out as the reader's figuring out, because we have to see this world through her. What did you think of the court? Oh, they're spooky. I know. In such a good way. Yeah. I also liked that it's a bit of a found family trope going on. Yes. And I do love that in my books. Yes. So I hope there's more of that. And then, I don't know, it's also a little complicated because his uncle shows up. Like, we hear about his uncle. The Count? The Count? Did they call him the Count? The Count's I don't remember if they call him that. Yes, they did. Yes. Because it's, of course, Saint Germain. So they call him, and it's like, he just builds up through the novel, and it's like, oh, it's your all-powerful uncle. You're his heir. Right? And then he shows up at the end, and... Yeah. That's all we're going to say about that. Because, you can read the book and meet him, and then tell us what you think. Right. Yeah, definitely. And you can put it in the comments, and we can respond later about that. I have a few thoughts. Yeah. I definitely think he had a complicated family, and it's just more complicated by the time you get to the end of the book. Yeah, because like there's painful stuff in like all their backstories, I think. Yeah. And then you hear more of Bastien's, and it's like there's something else going on here.
And they're all sort of orphans looking, like you
Yeah.
said, for their family, which may not be their blood family. Which I liked about the court as well, going back to that. I love this. Going back to that also, I loved the way Renee introduced that whole group. It was that whole scene when you walk up to the upstairs den where they all are was just, fabulous. Her writing and her descriptions are incredible.
Like the scene where they're in the Mardi Gras parade and they're just on the street.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that scene.
I liked that too. And like I said, she just does this little behind the thing of all this creepy spookiness. You can feel it lurking in the pages.
Atmosphere.
Yeah, she does it so well.
Another thing for the spookiness, there are, I've been calling them interludes, of another point of view that is not named until the very end. And those also, contribute to the spookiness, because you have our main characters being watched, and being seen from not a reader perspective. So that's fun. I just like multiple points of view. Yeah,
well, and I liked the creepy way she was presenting that, because you don't know who is telling us this part of the story.
Yeah.
And I feel like you spend the whole time trying to guess who it is, and I was very surprised at the end. Should we talk about the end without talking about the end?
I was going to talk about languages first.
Oh, let's do that.
There's more than one language in this book, and I was so happy.
There was a bunch of languages.
Yeah.
It wasn't even just the English and then Latin. It was
Carthaginian.
Yeah, thank you.
Or Phoenician.
But I guess I was more saying, a lot of times it's English and then Latin are in the book. But this, she went way beyond
There's French.
that.
I think there's Spanish.
There's Spanish. Mm-hmm.
This is a little bit of a spoiler, but it's not a spoiler if you know the language. There's a little bit of Korean.
As our K-pop fan knows.
There's Romanized Korean in it, and then I was reading the book, I was like, well, what does this mean? Then I started to sound it out, and I was like, oh, I know what this is. I know why this is relevant. And so that's a very nerdy way of being of something I liked about this book. But
I actually really liked that was what you liked about the book. The nerdy's good. It is
good. But yeah, there's also dead languages in this book. There's Shakespeare.
There was a lot of
I love Shakespeare.
Yes.
I really do.
In many ways, this was the perfect book for Jen. It covered languages and Shakespeare.
And won me over the vampires again.
Yeah. Right. Yay.
It's all good. But yeah, do you want to talk about the ending?
Okay. Were you surprised at the end?
Yes, I was surprised at the end, because I had been thinking something different through most of the book.
Right.
So then we got to this ending, and I was like, oh, okay, now we're gonna go there.
Well, and it was multiple levels of surprises. She did a great job misleading us along
I think
some of the
it's
ways.
a little bit of an epilogue, isn't it?
Yes, I think there is an epilogue.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's an epilogue.
And we should also note that it was a well-done epilogue. We have a running commentary about the appropriate uses of epilogues.
And prologues.
And prologues,
yes. No, but this one's good. I like this one.
Yes.
Also, I'm not going to say that. Anyway, it's good.
Okay.
But
yeah, I was surprised on many levels. I'm excited to see where this story is going because of the twists.
Yeah.
It's going to be a rough start for Celine, I think, in the beginning of book 2.
I think they're all going to have a rough
I say, aside
start.
from everyone else, I don't even know what Bastian's how he's going to, anyway. So yeah, I was excited with the end. I'm looking forward to the sequel. We were actually very sad that it wasn't out yet, but
that was one we were all looking forward to. We're all yes, we do want to continue this series, which is always a good.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. The other thing I wanted to chat about was the map and this beautiful book. We also have ongoing discussions about maps. You can pretty much win us over with any map in a book. And this one, it's really tightly done. And it's the quarter of New Orleans, the French Quarter, isn't it? Or is it all of New Orleans?
I think it's all of New Orleans, because that's a very big French Quarter.
Nope, it's the French Quarter.
Oh, it's a very big French Quarter.
Yeah, and it's really fun and well done. I kind of like that. Well,
and it's red toned.
Yeah.
It's just really pretty and neat and sharp. That sometimes fantasy maps there's a lot of wavy edges and
right, and
they aren't super detailed.
And it's also, I think, actually accurate to the location, but then is very accurate to the story, which was really cool too. I liked her Like, I felt the
also the
historical...
dust jacket.
Oh, right. The historical aspect I really enjoyed in this
Yeah.
one. I really felt like we were in the time and in New Orleans. So it was really exciting in that way.
Yeah, I wish I had been there so I could be like, oh yeah, that's what this is, but no, I've never been there.
Me neither. But I felt like we were there. And then the other part was, this part is just amazing. It's the lion. I'm assuming it's
the court's like symbol.
So very beautiful, well done cover. We enjoyed it immensely.
And it's not a white hardbound.
Ugh.
I have a thing about white hardbounds because they're very. I don't read with the dust jacket on,
Right.
Because then the edges get bent and it can get torn, and I want it to look pretty.
It needs to look pristine on your shelf.
But then if you take the jacket off, it is just a white hardbound. Then you can get fingerprints
And it just gets
smudges.
dirty.
Yeah.
And even when you cover it back up, you still know.
Or then that's one you really don't want to lend to people because it's like, I barely trust myself to keep this clean. I definitely don't trust someone else to keep it clean. So yeah, it's a nice bright red hardbound.
Yeah, gorgeous. Yeah.
It's really pretty.
Any lasting thoughts, impressions you would like to share before we move on?
No, it was good.
Yeah, we highly recommend it.
Yeah. I think it's my staff pick on the wall actually right now.
See, there you go. All right, and so we thought we'd also chat a little brief moment about what we're currently reading. So these are books we haven't finished yet, but we are thoroughly enjoying and immersed in. And what do you have?
I have Jade City by Fonda Lee, and it's adult fantasy, and it's like Asian fantasy. It's set in a fictional city, and it's, I think she describes it back as like gangster martial arts. So there's like 2 clans in the city of Janloon. I might pronounce all these fantasy words wrong.
Yeah.
No Peak and the Mountain, and there's all the power play of power play between gangs, and there's also a lot of family conflict. Like a sister comes home after being away for 2 years, and that's like figure out her relationship with her 2 brothers and her cousin again, and trying to live her own life. And there's a lot of sibling dynamics, and I really enjoy that part about it. I'm also this far through it, so I'm over halfway, and
Somebody said the colors on the cover are so pretty.
yeah, I'm over halfway, and I have a lot of feelings. Oh, okay. Because there's this part about
I really enjoyed how you've been just kind of going along, and then
I have a lot of feelings because I'm like,
okay, what are the feelings?
there's something happened that I really wanted to happen in the plot,
But
how it happened is really not how I wanted it to happen.
oh,
And it's about halfway through, so I'm past it,
but you're not really past it.
well, it was like a thing that happened, and then I was like, I need a minute. I need to like put this down for a minute because
That's fair.
it's a lot.
Yeah, and I'm not very far into that one. I'm also reading it. I do think it's definitely fantasy mafia, which I liked a lot. And like you said, it's a very intricate plot.
Yeah, and there's like martial arts kind of in
Yeah.
it. It kind of feels like I think the genre's like wuxia. I'm
Yeah.
probably pronouncing that wrong too.
Okay. Yeah.
But it has like influences of that in it too.
And I thought the magical system was very unique and interesting. So I'm not to the moment, but I'll get there.
Oh, you're gonna get there, and you're gonna know which moment it is too.
That's fair.
But it's really good so far. Like the chapters are really well done. It's like they're kind of on the longer side of chapters, but each chapter feels like very complete. And like it has, I don't know, it's just well done. Like each one feels like a complete scene, and a lot happens in each chapter, both like character wise and relationship wise, but also plot wise. Because there's like action scenes or a lot of fight scenes, which are fun to do. It's just fun, and they're like they have like knives and swords and but also magic and jade, and it's a lot of fun. There's one chapter that I don't want to say like what it handles because that's a spoiler, but it handles this particular like plot device like really well, and it's really well written. It's one of like the best ones I think I've read of this type of scene. Yeah.
Nice.
So
I liked her writing. Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah, it's really.
No, I'm not
clear.
surprised, I guess, about that because her writing is really well done in that book.
It's like clear, and like clear writing is hard to do.
Yeah, especially with fight scenes and that it can get very murky.
Yeah, and like multiple characters have points of view, and you kind of like jump around the city, but it doesn't ever feel like, wait, who are you? Like, why do we care? Like, it's it's just handled really well.
It's not clunky either.
Yeah, it's like a big cast, but it's handled. It feels balanced, and like you know who you're supposed to like care about, or I think I know who I'm supposed to care about, but we'll see.
You never know with those endings.
Oh my gosh!
Right?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So, what are you currently reading?
I am currently reading Maggie Stiefvater's The Raven King. So, okay, I'm going to tell you all this just up front. I have put this fourth book off since it came out. Even though I really wanted to read it, I wanted to also live in Schrodinger's box because I'm still very, very nervous about where this book is headed. And I'm having a lot, as you say, feelings with this one.
And multiple of us have told you, like, you'll be okay.
Like, seriously, more than multiple.
I read this book.
So many people have said, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. So I am. I'm going through. I'm about halfway. I have a lot of thoughts about this one in threes.
In threes?
Well, the use of threes.
Oh.
Have you noticed the use of threes in
It's been
this
a couple of years
quartet?
since I've read it.
There's like she'll do sentences and repeat one word three times, and I kind of like it. Like,
It's also like rule of threes.
oh, there's
And, like,
so much around three.
Adam lives in a church,
Yeah,
so
yeah. There's a lot of yeah. We'll continue that maybe at another session when I finish. No, it's really well. I love Maggie's writing. She can just transport you into this world. And, you know, we always say how this is such a funny series because you tell someone, you know, it's about this group of boys. They're trying to find this lost Welsh king. And initially people are like, and you're like, no.
and there's like psychics and
Fabulous.
and talking forests. It's like
Yeah,
It's
but
just
it really
fabulous.
is fabulous.
Yeah, and
but yeah, I'm still very nervous. It's fine. I'm halfway through. I'm gonna plug through and I'm gonna finish it. I hope
You'll
to
be okay.
in the end.
You'll be okay. I remember like I being very nervous for when this book came out too.
Well, and her prologue.
Yeah, the prologues, it's always like Gansey's gonna die. And
Yeah,
it's like,
I mean, truly. Okay, this isn't really a spoiler because you all know this, but I mean, truly, the end of the prologue. This was the year he was going to die. I did shut the book for like an hour or two before I came back.
just like, it's like, that's enough. He's alive as long as I don't read the rest of the book.
Schrodinger's cat right here.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say, Maggie Stiefvater does the best prologues. I have never read anyone's who does them so well. She does it like so you're introduced into this story, but then the story wraps back around to the prologue, and she does it in such a wonderful way in all of her books that I've read, and I've read several now.
Someone asked who's your favorite character in that book.
In this book,
this one?
okay, I don't know. It's definitely Gansey. I adore him,
I like
which is
Gansey,
why
too.
I think I am so upset.
I think it is also Gansey, but I also really like Blue.
I do like Blue as well,
I do
but
like Blue.
how could you not?
And Calla. I like Calla. She's angry a lot, but I don't know. I like her.
Yeah, and I do like Ronan, but
This is the problem. We like all of them, so it's like
I
a very
know,
slippery
right?
scale of favorites.
it really. And book 3 was already rough. So anyway,
Oh, yeah.
if you haven't read the Raven Quartet, you should.
Cycle.
Cycle, thank you.
Welcome.
I've been told it's going to end fabulously, and I'm really counting. You guys are all on my list. If
I
it
said you were going
doesn't.
to be fine. I don't know if I used the word fabulously. I said you're going to be fine.
Well, still.
You're going to have a few more feelings before you get to the end of that
Oh
book.
no, I knew that was going to come. All right. Any parting thoughts? Otherwise, I think we are near the end. This
Yeah.
was delightful.
This was fun.
So go ahead and send us your comments, and we'll respond if we have other additional thoughts.
Yeah.
Yes, and check back. As I said, I hope we do this maybe weekly as we all sit in quarantine and are bored. And hopefully we'll have some other staffs, and we'll obviously do different genres as well.
Yeah.
All right.
We good? We're good.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.